I'd like to call the meeting of the Plaquemines Parish Council for April 25th, 2024 to order at 2:02 p.m. Machines are open for roll call. Let the record reflect that 7 council members are present. Mr. Newsom and Mr. LaFrance will be absent today. If you would, please stand for the prayers led by Ms. McCarty and pledge led by Mr. Champagne.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We take this moment to acknowledge Almighty God and to thank Him for our bountiful blessings, especially for the parish's natural resources. We give thanks to God for our brave and courageous men and women in our military who daily risk their lives to protect our precious freedom. And we pray for our world leaders to know how to obtain world peace. We pray that this government body, comprised of both council and administration, will always serve our parish with honesty, humility, and equality to all. As this government body gathers here today, we pray for the wisdom to know right from wrong and the courage to do which is right. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What does say amen after that?
All right, at this time, I'd like to ask everybody to silence their cell phones, including myself. Hey, all right, next item, please. Hey, Mitch.
Agenda item 2, executive session, there are none. Agenda item 3, proclamations, there are none. 4, status report by the parish president.
Mr. President.
Last 2 weeks have it's been kind of like a whirlwind between Belle Chase and Baton Rouge. 2 items that we were working hard on was the TIF, the tax incentive financing bill that Senator Connick brought before the committee, and we were successful at getting it out of committee. The next bill is the Rang's bill with CPRA, which is dealing with the local ordinances and laws that Representative Zarang doesn't feel like CPRA should have to follow. Well, it got out of committee at a 7-6 vote. Just didn't care for some of the way he approached getting it out of committee. I just didn't think it was very honest, to put it bluntly. So it's going to be, I think they're going to hear it on the floor this coming Monday or Tuesday. And all morning yesterday and all day this morning, we were sending out emails to every state representative in the state of Louisiana, every senator. And I believe we also hit up the council members and police jury members as well. So we're getting some very interesting remarks back from the folks, which is supportive, from St. Rose to Slidell. I've got folks in Natchitoches in Northwest Louisiana. They're working up their state reps in that area, and Shreveport as well. And we're, look, I've got fingers all over the place that are working hard, because what it is this bill, it would be retroactive, which now means he is basically trying to litigate by legislation. It would wipe out the lawsuit that we're in the middle of with CPRA, which is back in the 25th district here in Plaquemines Parish. So that's been some of the big things. That's basically where my energy has had to go into. I did get to spend some time with Miss Ashley Morrison, our new Director of Arts, Parks, and Recreation. We had the privilege to go spend the afternoon and evening in Buras to see, check out some issues with some of the ball games there, and had a good dinner at Thompson's Kitchen. Also, in the last 2 weeks, we've brought in Director of Economic Development and Tourism. That's Ms. Kelly DeMarco. I'd like to invite her up right now, if she would, and let her introduce herself to you guys and lady. And if you have any questions, here she is. Ms. DeMarco, follow Chris's instructions here.
Just state your name and address officially for the record, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Kelly DeMarco, 232 Bergeron Drive, Belchase, Louisiana.
And just introduce yourself and everything.
Hi, I am Kelly DeMarco. I am the newest member of the administration, and I'm proud to serve Plaquemines Parish government and look forward to working with each of you. Our focus in economic development will be building out the infrastructure of the office, along with the pillars of marketing and workforce development. I look forward to listening to each of you and figuring out where we can go and how we can flesh out that framework. Any questions?
Any questions from the table? Ms. Hold on. Cue in. All right. Hold on. All right. I don't know what's. All right, Ms. McCarty, I don't know what's going on with this. Go ahead.
Welcome, Mr. Marco. We had a chance to talk one time at some type of banquet, and I understand you have a background in business. So why don't you tell us about your background and how it relates to economic development?
So my first degree is in economics and finance.
And get closer to the mic, please.
Excuse me. My first degree is in economics and finance, and for 10 years I served in corporate America, and in 26 years I served in education as workforce development. That's my experience to bring into economic development.
Will you be helping the businesses that already exist here, or will you primarily be focusing on bringing in new businesses? How do you see your job?
So it's a balance of legacy industry where you have retention and development at the same time. So you're looking at foundational industry as opposed to emerging sectors and the diversification of that to balance that out.
Okay. Thank you. We look forward to hearing what your plans are.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Edwards.
Yeah, I just want to thank you and welcome aboard. And you bring some true meaning to the name DeMarco, so I'm pleasant to have some pleasantry with that name. Thank you for that.
Thank you. It's great to be home.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. DeMarco. Mr. President, you done?
That's it.
All right. Any comments for President's update from the audience? Come state your name, address, please.
Clarence Brox, 156 Enos Camel Lane, Phoenix, Louisiana. I'd like to welcome Ms. DeMarco, because she said she's going to be working in economic development. I would like to say you got a challenge to come on the East Bank and trying to develop that side of the river. Seems like we're not going up for economics, we're going down. So I hope you put some time on our side of the river. We need supermarkets, we need a whole lot of stuff. I don't know if you're going to work on oil fields and stuff like that, you got it on the East Bank. But we need other stuff that we could be able to survive on our side. Our development of a way of life is going down quickly. So as far as economic development, we are not growing. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mr. Brox. Any other comments from the audience? Mr. Jursich.
Yes, Mr. President, I had a couple things in my District 8 updates, but I'm just going to get them out the way right now. Basically is, looking at the, early on we had discussed talking about hiring a grant writing firm. Have we made any headway on this?
I met with Miss Heather Anknar. She's been working with the port with Rockwood Steel. We're going to be signing an agreement with her because there seems to be a common ground as our meetings, I've been meeting with the director, Tilson, on a weekly basis here, and I think we're starting to mesh together as far as what the port's views are for the future of Plaquemines Parish and what my views and our views as a parish government for the future. So we're working together with that. And so I think with having her represent the port, I think it'd be a good fit for the government as well. Because when you go for these grants, I need to know what the port's going for, as well as they need to know what we're going for as a government, because we don't want to be competing for the same grants. Also, Senator Vitter, who also represents us, who has been helping me and helping the parish in Baton Rouge during this session, he also represents the port and the government on the DC side. He has put me in contact with someone that he has worked with in the past on the DC side. So I'll probably be talking with, it's a Becky Natakis. So we'll be having discussions with her as well.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, we really need to get on a
And we
fast
do.
track with this stuff, because we got to try to start getting grants. We're doing work on Highway 11. We got, all these projects where hopefully we can start bringing in some grants to do some of this work instead of trying to use up all our funds, because, we have a lot of infrastructure issues, water issues, stuff like that. It's, we got some old stuff. So I'm just, I'm looking forward. We really need to get that ball rolling.
Not a problem.
And on my second one, it was the status of hiring a coastal zone director.
That's one right there that's also comes with challenges. As we had an individual that we were trying to work with. I'm finding the coastal zone individuals, it's a focus that they struggle with. We had an individual, I can tell you, it was PJ Hahn, great guy, but I just couldn't get him to focus solely on Plaquemines Parish. He had too many irons in the fire. I didn't feel comfortable with it. He's still going to be working with us on coastal zone projects, but it's going to be as a business development person for the engineering consultant firms that he works for and works with. Billy and I have been talking, and we're going to be reaching out to Nunez, Delgado, and UNO. We're looking at a young engineer fresh out of school to be able to come in and work with us so that we can develop them into what we need. And that way, I think we'll be better focused on what coastal zone is all about and what we need them for.
Okay, because I know, every week that goes by, there's
Yeah.
projects that could be, we're not even getting anything on the books right now.
Well, let me tell you, I talk to CPRA pretty much on a weekly basis, if not 2 times a week. I've talked to Mr. Leday yesterday. I've talked to Mr. Dove last week. We're talking about projects, and we're moving forward with what we're trying to pursue, because the new director and the new executive director, they're interested in moving forward with certain projects in Plaquemines Parish, and we are in conversation with that.
Yeah, and I get that.
Yeah.
And I get the fact of looking at these universities and trying to hire someone fresh out. But I would be a little nervous about hiring someone fresh out with no experience, no lack of knowledge, especially about our situation in Plaquemines Parish, because that's what we focus on with our coastal zone people.
We have a lot of experienced people around us with these consultant firms they're still pushing. PJ's still pushing hard for Plaquemines Parish. It's just that he also pushes hard for other parishes too, or in other matters. But when we sit down and we talk with CPRA, if there's like 9 or 10 projects, when you see them on the board, 6 to 7 of them are in Plaquemines Parish. So Plaquemines Parish carries pretty much the extent of any project that's happening. That's both on the West Bank and the East Bank, because they may call it a St. Bernard project, but it's not in St. Bernard. It's in Plaquemines Parish.
Right, and I know.
We have an abundance of projects that that are happening and will be happening in Plaquemines Parish.
Well, that's good to know, but I just know a lot of those projects were worked on, some of them back in 2012, so we kind of constantly keep building new projects to keep hammering them out.
Well-
And this little lapse right now makes me a little nervous.
Let me tell you, there's not really much of a lapse, okay? I think we're more focused on it right now, because Billy can explain that to you, because Billy has taken this under his wings, and I think all of you know how Billy approaches this government, okay? So there's no downtime with Billy, okay? So there is no lapse. I think right now, I believe we're more focused on our coastal zone, because of the lack of maybe not having that individual there. That's put a little more pressure on me, and it's put more pressure on Billy to be more focused on it and to be on that phone with these, with CPRA and with these consultants, knowing what do we have going on? Where are we? What do we need to do? How do we want to approach it? So, yeah.
No, thank you very much for that. I agree with you on that. You have been very active. Everybody's been very
Right,
active.
yeah.
And I know you had your hands full this past week, and anytime you need any one of
Well,
us, please call on us.
Well, I have. I know Ronnie, I've drug him up there a couple of times. It's like, and look, when we leave for Baton Rouge, it's not at like 9, 10 o'clock. We leave the office at 6:15, 6:30 in the morning, and we don't get back till 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. It's an all-day affair up there, but.
And I'm capable now of being able to have a little more freedom. I'm a little freer now than I was a couple weeks ago. So
Look, I welcome it. Look, I think it shows it shows that unity, just like when we were dealing with the TIF. I was there with State Representative Jacob Breaux, our Senator Connick, myself was sitting at the table, and we had Ms. Shelley Ritz sitting behind us. And as also Senator Boudreaux, I believe it made the comment that how well we work together as a parish government and a school system. And he made the comment, it's like, this is the way government should work. And we worked really well because, as y'all know, we did do a last-minute switch where Ms. Ritz and the school board, they were concerned, and rightfully so. But fortunately, at the last minute, basically the last second, I was able to get in and see the chairman of the committee, Mr. Bowie, sat down with him and explained to him that we needed to do a substitution on one of the positions. It was we pulled one of my positions off of it, and we put a school board position on there that Dr. Ritz would recommend, and he had no problems because Senator Bowie is an educator. So he appreciated that very much, and he was more than willing to make that happen, and he did. So, good.
Dr. Gui.
Mr. President, just two things to clarify on what you said before. On the TIF bill, what do you feel the attitude is as far as its ability to pass? Is the right language in there? We think we'll get through it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that was a 7-6 vote on that CPRA local involvement bill. That was pretty close, and maybe offline you can tell me how he did that.
Yeah.
But we had talked about it before, and it seemed like the Police Jury Association and the President's Association were very strong in opposition to what he's trying to do. In spite of the 7-6 committee vote, do you feel like we still have that strength to maybe get this thing defeated?
I do, but we can't let our guard down. And I'll tell you exactly, I don't have a problem with saying this on the record, why we got the 7-6. There was some heartburn over the retroactive aspect of it. And several of the members did not like that language in there. So Representative Zarang kind of made the comment that he would work with one of the reps on pulling that out. And I've yet to see that. And like I said, I just don't feel like he was being very honest with his counterparts. So.
I agree. I agree.
If you want to, though.
I agree with you on that, Mr. President. I watched that meeting and heard him make that comment, and then that was one of the deciding votes, was that rep voted for it to move out of committee. So, but like Mr. President said, he has yet to take that out. Mr. Champagne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, to touch on one of your comments made by Senator Boudreau, when he clearly said that this is how government's supposed to work. That was huge for Plaquemines Parish because we are working well as a government. You have the school board working with the administration and the council working together. We're also working with the assessor's office, working with the sheriff's department on many, many issues. And I'm very proud that that comment was made by somebody on the outside who recognized that. So I think we're doing a good job, and we need to keep doing that. With that, and that's an example of good government. An example of bad government is Zarang's bill. This is frightening. This is why the public does not trust many politicians. That's why the word politician is an ugly word. What he's doing is disingenuous. And that legislation is there to circumvent the rule of law. That's frightening. That's a slippery slope. And any help you need to fight that, I'm on the record. I'm here for you. I know many other people will support that. That is dangerous. And anything we can do to help it, let me know. I yield.
I believe they tried to bring it from the floor back to committee yesterday, I believe it was, or day before yesterday. That vote failed. I believe they're going to come back around when it's back on the floor and try to send it back to committee. There's a serious effort for this bill not to pass, for it to fail. So hopefully we can generate that interest with what we've done here yesterday and today to educate our, the state, the reps and that are on that floor. So.
And another thing that goes to what we're talking about is Representative Bro made the comment in his comments of this bill basically is trying to get rid of a lawsuit. And Representative Zarang pretty much admitted that's the whole purpose of this bill.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. Like you said, he's litigating through legislation.
Right.
Mr. Kongovich.
Yes, I appreciate y'all coming to the games Tuesday. You can imagine the calls I got. Like to get with the new director of recreation and go over some of them that concerns that the parents had.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Reverend Edwards.
Yeah, Mr. President, I'm really disappointed in the PJ Hines, and I'll leave that alone. And because I hope that we can have the meeting in Berkeley area because there's a lot of coastal restoration projects that people don't know where they at. And I really believe that our Billy, is already got a lot on his plate to put coastal rest. There's a lot to put on his plate because a lot of stuff I know with coastal restoration need to take place in Baton Rouge. Deal with that. And it's just hard for me to see him being able to do all the things because he's spread out. You talk about PJ have a lot of things.
Well,
So to me, I just think that I would like to know what's really happening because I'm still in laws and the people in Brick are still in laws with happening. CPR project. I went to Mirrorville when all the coastal people were there, and I saw how much work is involved in that. And I was on hammer about, man, it's a lot of work to be done. So I'm hoping that we bring somebody who's really strong in the area. And I'm like Mr.
Rep, pull your mic a little
When it comes down to students doing this work, I'm not for that. But I just think the culture thing is so important that we need to put somebody in that position. And I can appreciate you want Billy to do it, but he's already sprayed out thin. We need somebody who that's where their focus concentration is. So I hope we bring somebody in that position early. And I would like to set up a meeting with the people in Brickway because they're coming to me about the coastal restoration project and I can't tell them nothing. So they do for a meeting because we met before and there haven't been no follow-up since that meeting and I can't give them no answer.
Okay. Billy is not the coastal zone manager or director. Billy, the department is under Billy, okay? So we've got the funding there for this position. And this isn't a student, this is a graduate that we're going to be hiring But at the same time, look, we can advertise, and I welcome any one of you to sit in and we can interview this individual. And look, help, let's work together on this right here. And then look, you'll see when we start talking to coastal zone managers, directors, you'll see what I'm talking about, the ideas that they have and the focus that they have as well. Because I did talk to a couple others, and it just seemed like it was a common ground that when I would be sitting there talking to them, and it would be like, I just didn't feel the focus. It was just all over the place. I can do this, I can go here, and so, I mean, look, we're not counting that out. But if any one of us could find that person, I welcome it, without a doubt.
All right, at this time, since we kind of went to District 8 update, in the middle of presidential update, I do have to open the floor for comments related to grant writing firm or coastal zone director from the public. Any comments from the public? Just for formality. All right, next item, please.
A, update by charter directors.
Let me touch on just a couple things. Everything we've talked about the last, is still ongoing, so there's really no change in that. Just a couple follow-ups. A J Street sinkhole that was a repeat offender has finally been taken care of. Highway 23 aprons, I know Mr. Jurisic knows, we've been talking to DOTD. We think there's some gray area in who's responsible for those aprons down Highway 23 as it results to the 2-lane in the heart of Port Sulphur. We seem to think it's on them to catch the apron part before it turns into the street. So we think we're going to have a lot of help coming from them to help us with those. Some of it's concrete, some of it's asphalt. That'll be a big win. Lilies in the Ollie Canal. That woke you up, huh? Lilies in the Ollie Canal, of course, it's an ongoing thing forever. They have been working on it every day for 3 weeks. This is actually week 4. They are making a dent, but when you have miles and miles of canal, if it's directly behind your house, it looks great all of a sudden, right? But depending on how far you go either way, they're still lilies. But we're going to continue working on it. We do not want to kill them. We don't want to spray them because it's just going to sink and make the canal shallower. We think the Ollie Canal is probably shallower than it should be. We think it has some low spots, 3.5, 4 feet. The average is about 6 feet. It's probably supposed to be 8 to 9 feet, but that's years. It's never been dredged. It's never been dug out. So we don't want to sink and cause any more problems. Every rain event we've had since last year, there's never been any concern of flooding in that area, never been any concern of water getting in yards. It's always, everything has worked as it should. So that, anytime I talk to someone about that area, I tell them, look, they can ease their minds. There's no risk of flooding in that area. Now, if you have a huge Katrina-type storm again and water tops that back levee, the least of our worries is going to be the lilies in that canal. So the pump station is working as it's designed. It's not always 100%, but it's always in the 75, 80%. It's working great. It has more capacity now than the canal's holding anyway. Most of these rain events, even though there are multiple days consecutive pumping, the canal still never reaches the top of the canal where it risks even water getting in a yard, much less flooding a property. So I know you guys hear about the lilies, but it's better than it looks. It's really just an optical ugliness. Just to touch on the coastal stuff, 2 things for sure. Most of you that know me, the operations department and the departments that we work together with, we're not about smoke and mirrors. So all of these coastal consultants and engineering firms, everybody that comes there and wants to put on a PowerPoint presentation, they got 100 projects they're looking at, right? What we've been pushing them to do is, look, come with 5 projects and let's get something done. When can we have the funding for that? When will it start? When will it finish? Putting a whole bunch of things up on a wall and showing it to the public and all that's all great. It's feel-good stuff for them. You don't get any results from that. You don't get anything done. We want to get projects done, completed, and over with and move to the next one. Second, and most important, we have a hidden gem in that coastal department office today that's been there forever. It's Miss Krista Clark. Krista Clark was the assistant to probably the last 4 or 5 directors you've had in that department. She knows more about that department than probably any of those directors did. She gets on the phone, I've seen her do it. She calls anybody from any department, statewide, coastal agencies, engineering firms. They all know her, they're all on a first-name basis because she's been there so long. She knows everything about the projects going on. We'll put together a list for you, Reverend Edwards, and sit down and discuss just the East Bank stuff, and then you can plan a town hall or something on that. But we're not missing any opportunities because the position we're in today, we might be a little bit better today than we were last year or the prior years for sure. So don't let the fact that we don't have that director sitting in a chair today, don't let that seem like projects are not going to get done. Projects are getting done. It's going to be great. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things. As most of you know, air condition repair season is upon us, and it's running rampant already. But we're on it. We have a couple of guys that we rely on, and they're pretty focused on getting the jobs done pretty quickly. I have a list too long to mention, but my phone's always on me and my door's always open if y'all have any questions. The Buras YMCA pool is coming along. That's a more in-depth project than I thought it was. But I spoke with the contractor today. They're moving right along. Geez, I lost that word. They scraped all of the plaster off the walls. That's done. Either tomorrow or Monday, they'll start with the leak repairs, and he's very confident that'll be ready by the summer events. Mosquito control, the trucks are out and spraying. The parish is broken down into regions, and each region gets hit, weather permitting, twice a week at minimum. The plane is ready to go. It passed its inspection. We're going to start in May with twice a month spraying, and that's going to probably go on through September. Hopefully in September, October, we start getting a little cool fronts where it's not needed. And again, if that's all I have, if y'all have any questions or concerns, don't feel free to call. Thank you.
Do you have anything, Ms. Morrison?
Good afternoon. At this time, I do not have any old or new business to report. However, I am in the office and am available whatsoever needed. My phones are on and my doors are open and will always be open if anyone needs to reach me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Taylor, you good? All right, any comments from the audience?
Yeah, I got a comment from Mr. Billy. I heard he was talking about the canal somewhere down the highway, got lilies in it, and you don't want to kill the lilies. I understand that. But what's about the water on side the highway from White Ditch to Phoenix? I don't know where it come from, how it been there, but it haven't always been side the road all the time. The water will come from the east and it'll go right back out. Is that something going to be done because of the work we're doing out in the marsh to help protect the lands, doing the work that the levees cannot do? And if from the last rain that we had a lot of water. Water came on both sides of the road, and we're going to have a problem with that. If we get a hurricane, they're going to go over the road, and the road going to be under the water. Can we get some rocks and put on the levee from White Ditch to Phoenix so we could be able to evacuate or even come back into the community after the water? You need to take a couple of days for the water to come down. Any kind of way we get some rocks on the levees?
Finished? I'll answer all of them for you at one time.
Yeah, I know they said they're going to raise the highway, but that's going to take time, and I don't think it will be done before this hurricane season. But we need a way to be able to evacuate. And
First one, the Lilies was a West Bank canal over on that side. That's specifically what I was talking about. Two, the water alongside 39 now, that is now the marsh. So
Yeah.
now that area is just like Grand Isle or Fouchon. The marsh is next to the road now. There's no quick fix for that. The discussions we have had already, the only fix is going to be some type of a levee, potato ridge along the side of the road. Even elevating the roads, it's not going to move the marsh. It's still going to be right next to the road.
I agree.
Rocks on the levee. Hopefully, if we get into an emergency situation and the president has to call for an evacuation, you're evacuating long before the water gets to the road, and you won't come back till the water's off the road anyway. Levee access is a last resort. It's intended for emergency services and stuff like that. But we will look at what areas need rocking and all of that. We do know that you don't have a big problem with traffic on the levee over here, like some spots where they wear it all down. There are rocks. There's just grass kind of grew up through the rocks. You don't have bad spots. You don't have big potholes, all that. That's the good thing. And that's for sure from Phoenix back down to White Ditch for sure. Because we've wrote it. We did some stuff with the sheriff's office, all in preparation for hurricanes. So the levee's in good shape. You just don't see visible rocks because luckily you don't have the abuse over here that some other levees have where you're just riding up there all the time, tearing it up.
I remember when they put some rocks on it one time before, but the last time we had to use the levee to get out, it got us a couple of spots that had a little sink in it, and it was hard for some of the people to get out of it.
You're good now. You don't have no potholes, no big issues now.
Okay, all right, so we should be good to go if we have to get out. If we have to use the levee, the president gonna call her.
Yeah.
All right.
You'll be out before that.
All right, thank you.
Don't shame on you.
But the problem is coming back. We need to come back and check on our property and stuff. So I think that's gonna be the biggest problem.
The road's clear. You can come back.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Ms. McCarty?
Hello, everyone. Mr. Richards, have you had a chance to call DOTD about the engineers road?
They've already fixed that.
Excellent, excellent, great, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Jurisich?
Yes, Billy, I did get some feedback from DOTD. They will be looking at those areas.
Right.
And what's good about that is hopefully we find out that that's their responsibility, so
Right.
we can get that addressed, and I appreciate you working with me on that. Also on the Ollie Canal, it's been a hot topic.
Yeah.
And, so keep that going. I did get from some residents said that with the last rain event, some of the lilies did move out, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing, and the more we start clearing, maybe the quicker some others will move on their own. But I appreciate your promptness on all of that stuff and everything else. We get me and you get a lot of emails and
Right.
text, and we got a big area to work with, but thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm on most of those chains with you with some of your people.
I know that.
And look, Councilman Edwards, I forgot to mention, along with those DOTD talks, we're talking about lights on Highway 39. So that's in that same discussion with some of those repairs to aprons too.
Reverend Edwards, you're up.
Yeah, Billy, I appreciate all the work that you do on the East Bank. There's very few things I've asked you to. You move on the road and all those things. But on the coastal restoration project, you have to convince me more on that. And so when I was talking about, I was against coming with the smoke and mirrors, all the slides, because we had that before.
Right.
And nothing happened. So I'm not for that. But there was some project that was working on, I'm still yet to understand what's really happening with that. And I know when I went to Les Coastal meeting in Miro, the Delacroix was involved with a lot of the property, and a lot of the project for CPR went towards his property as opposed to being close to things. So that's why I'm saying, we really people need to know what projects are really there. So I really appreciate that. And on the highway, I think we talked about the apron again, and I don't know what happened in Midge District, but those rocks need to be, when they did the highway, they didn't elevate the rocks to match the highway, and so therefore you had no shoulders. And I think that's what caused a lot of the cracks along, I know in Harlem and other areas, because they elevated the road when they did do the blacktop, but they didn't put enough rock and gravel on the side to make it easier. So I'm hoping that would really happen. But I really, really need to be some convincing on the coastal project, because I'm still waiting on, and we've already talked about the stuff in Berkeley Park with the tractor and that piece of equipment been on that ground. I've been here 2 years and they've been sitting in the same spot for 2 years and it's supposed to be on a railroad track. So I'm hoping that we can really do something with that. But all the other stuff you've been doing been tremendously fixing the road, the post office, the rock, moving things on. You've been doing an excellent job. And I also want to thank you, Mr. DeMarco, for all the work that he has been doing. And so I really want to thank you for that.
I'll get with you on that coastal stuff and convince you.
Okay.
Mr. Koknovich.
Yeah, speaking of DOTD, if we ever get with engineering to find out if it's our sewage problem that's caving the shoulder of the road in Boothville?
We believe it is our problem. They have not got the truck back down there to video it, but that is in the works. That's on the list.
All right.
It is definitely our issue.
Because I know DOTD has 25 feet from the road. That's
Yeah.
why we use the telephone poles as the,
But that's their way out, is the sewer system is our system, and that's the issue that's causing that. So that's their way out, but it's definitely our issue.
then with the canals, a couple years ago, I wanted to buy this little dredge, but the coastal zone person at the time wanted a marsh buggy that we bought.
It's nice.
And we could have used this little, you bring it on an 18-wheeler trailer, it picks itself up, puts itself in the water, and we could have dredged all the canals, the boat harbors and all, and, wouldn't have all these problems. I could send it to you if you want to take a look at it.
All right.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
5, bids and advertisements. A resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing one or more Type 1 cab chassis and remount Ford F-450, 4x4 or equal for a period of 1 year for parish-wide use, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
Ask for a second. Second by Mr. Koknovich. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes 7-0. Next item, please.
6, beer and liquor licenses. A, Alfonso's Seafood, 8134 Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana, 70037. B, Circovich Fuel Center LLC, 7876 Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana, 70037. C, Suds Tavern, 106E Barrier Road, Belchase, Louisiana, 70037. JMW Incorporated, 9654 Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana, 70037.
I ask for a second. Second by Mr. Jursich. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes 7-0. Next item, we'll take, I did talk to Mr. Newsom before. He said move on all his stuff, so we'll take one by itself. 7A1 by itself.
Entergy Louisiana LLC, application date 4/1/24, application number 2024-300, after the fact emergency repairs to replace insulators on structure 72 of the Alliance Barataria 230 kV transmission line, Belchase, 294210, 86 North, 90004849 West. Councilmember Newsom.
I ask for a second. Second by Mr. Jursich. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes 7-0. B is being deferred. We'll take C through J and Globo.
Blue Dog RV Park, Judy Daigle and Daniel Trosclair, conditional approval for 36 spaces, new permanent RV park, Prody Drive and Blue Dog Lane, Belchase, Louisiana. J Bar Sportsman's Lounge, Jeffrey Johnson RV Park Renewal, Galmeech Lane and Doris Lane, Empire, Louisiana. Venice Charters Unlimited, Brent Roy RV Park Renewal, 2024, Emmett Lane, Boothville, Louisiana.
Wait, hold on. Blue Dog is C is gonna have to be by itself. We're gonna have to do some because of the way it votes. Abstentions. Let's do C by itself. Mr. Newsom said go ahead and move on it, so I'll offer on that one. Ask for a second. Second by Mr. Champagne. Any comments from the audience on this? Administration? Table? Machines are open. We're on 7C.
Councilmember, sorry.
Oh, everybody's. Passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention from Mr. Conovich and Mr. Newsom and Mr. LaFranche absent. Hold on 1 second. No, you're good there. Okay, so we'll take D, E, F, and Globo.
J Bar Sportsman's Lounge, Jeffrey Johnson, RV Park Renewal, Galmeech Lane and Doris Lane, Empire, Louisiana. Venice Charters Unlimited, Brent Roy, RV Park Renewal, 2024, Emmett Lane, Boothville, Louisiana. Stumps RV Park, Stump Supermarket Incorporated, RV Park Renewal, 113 Stump Lane, Venice, Louisiana.
Do I have somebody offer? Offered by Mr. Jurist, asking for a second. Second by Mr. Champagne. Any comments from the audience? State your name and address, please, Mr. Clark.
My name is David Clark, 108 Avenue A in Belchase. You see, I think we're deferring what's on the agenda as far as putting a moratorium parish-wide for agricultural and coastal plains. But I see here, a few of them are in that coastal plain. I know 2 months ago, or I'm sorry, a month ago at this building here, we did the same thing. We had 32 spots come up for temporary, and at the same meeting, we were going to talk about a moratorium placing on it. So I think we're working both sides here. We're talking moratorium parish-wide to prevent trailers from going up in these areas. But now we're putting, I'm not against this, by no means am I against this. I'm just saying, I would like an open playing field for the rest of us that want to develop. I wish Councilman District 7 was here, the statements he made last
I think
council meeting.
these are RV renewals. I think you're on the wrong ones. The G, H, and I is next.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I'll catch you.
All right, any other comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention from Mr. Cognich, and Mr. Newsom and Mr. LaFrance are absent. We'll take G, and Mr. LaFrance did say move on his permits. We'll take G, H, I, and J in Globo.
Draven Brown Camper Trailer and FP Zoning District, 2765 Hermitage Road, Lake Hermitage, Port Sulphur, Louisiana. Glenn Biggin Camper Trailer and FP Zoning District, 274 West Bayou Lane, Lake Hermitage, Louisiana. Peyton Helmer Camper Trailer and FP Zoning District, 265 West Bayou Lane, Lake Hermitage, Louisiana. First Equity Incorporated, final approval for 32 additional spaces, temporary RV lot, 120 and 130, AI 230 and 240 AG, Foster Road, Port Sulphur, Louisiana.
I'll offer for Ms. LaFrance. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Edwards. Any comments from the audience?
Okay, David Clark, 108 Avenue A in Belchase. I'm the right ones now, so I apologize for that. Like I was saying, we've got 2 things going on at the last 2 meetings that was held on this side. We're approving 32 spots, temporary, but yet we want to pass a moratorium parish-wide preventing temporary and spots for agricultural and wetlands. I'm not, no way am I opposed to these things, but last council meeting, Councilman District 7, I was, like I said, wishing he was here to get some more explanations on what he meant by disrespectful. Don't know if he was talking about the developers, was he talking about the guy speeding? wasn't sure about that. But I think the workers that are here are safe. And I think they're good individuals. They're just working away from their house and trying to find a place to live. There's a need for RV parks. And I'm referring to the moratorium that is going to be deferred later. But we're talking about spots that aren't filled. If you go from Myrtle Grove up, every RV spot from Myrtle Grove up, both legal and illegal, are filled. Those spots are filled. There's a need for RV spots. And I'm just hoping that I can get with my council member, if he would take my calls, and we can try to get something going to introduce something and let it come, at least come to a vote. Because some of us have invested our money, whether it passed permanent RV zoning or not, purchased property on the promise of a temporary park. So that's what we're looking to do. Again, I'm not against these, but I think, we can't play both sides. Either we're going to have the temporary RV parks or we're not. In agricultural, which 80 to 90% of our property here in the parish is agricultural, or in the floodplains. So I'm just asking that we balance this playing field out so all of us can take advantage and capitalize on some of this money that these out-of-towners are bringing in. Thank you.
Any other comments from the audience? Administration? Mr. Hinckley?
There's an ordinance on the agenda today that will be deferred later, but it's not a moratorium. The ordinance that I've asked, I guess, Mr. Schultz to bring before the council is we want to clean up and what we're doing with these RV parks. The spaces are too close together. We need to come up with a set of rules that we're all going to follow. His time is up.
Yeah, it's your turn. You have the floor.
All right, I hate to be that way, but it is what it is. But what I'm saying is there is no moratorium on the agenda, and there won't be a moratorium on the agenda. What we're doing is we're working on some more rules for these parks, and we're going to move forward. We're going to allow these parks to be brought into the parish. It's just going to be, they're going to be our rules, and this is our rules that we're going to have, and they're going to have to be abided by. So.
All right, Ms. Jursich.
Yes, I see G, H, and I are in a floodplain. And I think those are gonna be personal.
Correct. It's one trailer, basically, it looks like, per.
Each one. So I thought right now we had something on the books about floodplain and RVs. Or is it just for RV parks? No RVs in the floodplain? Can anyone enlighten me on that? Hubble, maybe you can.
Y'all both have the floor. Ms. Gogovich?
I know a year or two ago, somebody wanted to buy the Joshua's Marina. And that was one of the things they wanted to do, put some camper spots there. And they was told they couldn't put them in the floodplain. That's why they didn't buy it.
So my question.
And I want to add to that. And I see you sitting there, Mr. Brox. I think he's having the same issue on the East Bank, is they won't give him a permit for a RV on his. So I'm kind of curious on this too. Mr. Garrett? I mean, go ahead, Mr. Jursich.
I do know, I think that Mr. LaFrance had passed something about the floodplain, not allowing RVs in the floodplain in the previous administration. And I get what Mr. Clark is saying. We're going to look at these three and approve them in a floodplain, but we may not be legally bound to do that.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to defer G, H, and I for the time being until we can get an answer for the next meeting. Is everybody okay with that? All right, we'll defer G, H, and I until the next meeting. Are we still, Kim, can we still have discussion on J? Since that was part of the Englobe. Okay, so we're still on J though. All right, Mr. Jursich, you have anything on that? Mr. Kogovich? Ms. Edwards? Yeah. On J, we're now only on J.
Again, I just think we need to be consistent. on this, and I know we got it coming up. Well, I think Mr. President said we defer, but I'm still waiting to see when we're gonna develop a plan on RV, because I'm really torn on how we let some in, not people. I will vote yes, because I don't want to deny anybody anything, because I don't want to deny it, because I'm hoping at some point we can get RV on the East Bank, and I don't want to stop preventing that from out. But I hope we actually develop a plan for it, one that's real, and what criteria we're using, because we've been saying it, but I have yet to see it. And I think until we do that, you know, we're gonna be making political decisions based on a few people.
All right, Mr. Gognovich?
Yeah, I'm all for putting in rules, making everybody follow the same rule. And if it was a moratorium, my district would be out. I'm not joining a moratorium. I want as many campers I could get done.
All right, so at this point, we are only voting on J, which is not in the floodplain. This is just a regular temporary RV final approval for additional spaces. Any questions on what we're voting on? Machines are open. Passes 6-0 with an abstention from District 9. All right, next item, please.
8, introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
The following ordinances are being, legislation is being introduced by Councilmember Schultz. An ordinance seeking authority to settle a workers' compensation claim to amend the 2024 operating budget, self-insurance department, and the legal judgments general department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2024 general fund operating expenditure budget, flood control general department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2024 revenue and expenditure budgets, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2024 Waterworks and Sewage Fund operating expenditure budget, Waterworks and Sewage Billing Department, and Waterworks and Sewage Operation Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2024 manpower structure, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend and readopt Chapter 13 of the Parish Code of Ordinances by enacting Article 10, Food Truck Regulations, establishing the rules and regulations regarding the permitting, operation, and sale of food products from mobile vehicles in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The next one's for Councilmember Konovich. An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvement plan, replace Fort Jackson Bridge project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And the last one is for Councilmember Gui. An ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of property of Rhonda and Richard Childry, map of re-subdivision lots 49 through 56 of lot 48, Square B, Airport Subdivision, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, into lots 51A and 52A, Square B, Airport Subdivision, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, by Dufresne Surveying and Engineering, Inc., dated January 17, 2024, the owner having fulfilled all of the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines, without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And that's all the intros.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, let's go through deferrals and withdrawals. We will be deferring 9B, as in boy, 9C, 9D, as in dog, 9G, 9H, 9G and H, 9P, and then 9K will be withdrawn. Anybody else has anything to add? I'm going to go through everything one more time. 9B, 9C, 9D, 9G, 9H, and 9P will all be deferred. 9K will be withdrawn. Any questions on any of that? That matches, Kim, with y'all? Okay. Anybody else has anything else they have deferral withdrawal that I don't know about?
Did, Kim, were the ones that I asked,
Which one?
they were
Was that the courthouse security or?
That's just going to be deferred.
Okay, we're deferring the courthouse security? All right, that will be 9F will also.
9F.
Yes. All right.
And we withdrew that.
Okay.
At this time, we'll go to next item, which should be 9E.
A resolution granting conditional approval for a plan of subdivision of tracks A and B2, sections 2 and 73 T14S, R24E, Southeastern District of Louisiana, west of the Mississippi River, Belchase Parish of Plaquemines, into lots 1 through 54 square A, lots 1 through 30 square B, lots 1 through 24 square C, Barrier Estates, and the dedication of George Boulevard, Numa Street, Elvin Street, and Elvin Circle, and dedication of drainage servitudes and dedication sewer servitude Belchase, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on the plans and plat of Survey Dufresne Surveying and Engineering Incorporated dated June 1st, 2021, the owner having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember McCarty.
Offered by Ms. McCarty, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Conovich. Any comments from the audience? State your name and address, please. Mr. Hero.
Alan Hero, 428 9 Planets Canal Road, Belchase. Talking about this Planet Estate subdivision. I need to bring you up to date as to what's happening here because not very simple. We were approved on this subdivision in 2022. And shortly thereafter, we got the subdivision approved. We applied to the state for an entrance. I have a question. Can you see this layout here? Okay. Anyway, we applied to the state for an entrance on Woodland Highway, which used to be an easy thing to do. Well, not anymore. We applied in May of 2022, and we didn't get a final approval till December of last year. There was a back and forth conversation between DOTD and our engineer, and it took that long, over a year, to get a driveway permit. The reason we're here is that in the parish ordinances, we have a timeline to finish the subdivision. Well, we haven't been able to start because of the delay with the state of Louisiana. So we're here to, well, what the right term is, to restart our timeline is the way I would explain it. In other words, is that we're supposed to have been finished by now, but we haven't started except for the permit with the state, which we do have that. So whatever the proper terminology is, if this is correct, that's fine, but we need to reactivate our timeline so we can proceed with the subdivision. We've gotten bids, and then our engineer found this part of the parish ordinances about this timeline, which obviously he knew about, but we did not know about until this year, actually. That's when he found out that we had this 24-month period to get finished. And we haven't dug one ditch. We haven't turned anything except working with the parish with the state of Louisiana and our turning lane that we will be installing if we go ahead with this project. So we're here to get reinstated on proceeding with this subdivision.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hero.
Any questions I can?
Yeah, does anybody have a question for Mr. Hero, Mr. Jurisich?
So the delay was basically not on y'all part, it's on the Department of Transportation.
Right, the usual process, we had done an entrance several years ago on another subdivision, and it was just like, 6 weeks or 2 months, and they, boom, you got approval for the driveway on Danella Drive, also along Woodland Highway, so we thought the process was going to be equal, but because, I presume, because of all the turning lanes that they've built, the The state has installed the turning lanes for parts of Plaquemines and that project. So we didn't realize that we were going to get the burden of putting in our own turning lane. So the whole process changed between that turning lane and when we submitted in 2022. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, it enlightens me about, what took so long, and I know this thing's about to expire, you're looking to have it renewed.
Well, they changed the administrator up there with the, the governor and all that. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. I'm not sure.
And that's the only question I have for you. The other question is, how are we doing in Belle Chase? How are we doing in these districts?
Well,
I'm about.
I'll give you the floor in a second, but we got to open up for public. Oh, yeah, we got to open up for the public for rest, but then we can have our discussion. Just, any other comments from the public? Okay. Administration? All right, Mr. Jursich, now you can continue. Oh, I'll give you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just, I know we're getting pretty stressed in the Belle Chase area with subdivisions and all, and I just want to be sure that we're capable of, and look, I appreciate, because that's, I was kind of lost about what the delay was, and now I get it, so I do understand, and I want to move forward with it, but I want to just look at, how we stand on infrastructure and how can we handle, we know we got a lot of problems right there in that area, so that was just my question, if anyone could elaborate on that.
All right. First question I called Mr. Mitra this morning and I asked Mr. Garrett, is my understanding based on the date and everything, the 2 years expired in March of this year. My concern from a legal standpoint is we're granting an extension after the expiration of the original 2 years. And I asked Mr. Garrett to be prepared to answer this because I want to know legally what happens if we do this? Does it set a precedent, all that, with approving an extension after it's already expired?
Yes, sir. So I've looked into it, and you're correct. By my understanding, the original conditional approval was done on March the 24th of 2022, so it actually expired a month and a day. There is a provision in the subdivision ordinance for extensions, but it states extensions may be granted by the parish council by resolution only after certification by the parish president or his designated representative that any delay in commencement was due to an act of God, force majeure, war, riot, or natural disaster. So I do think it creates a somewhat troublesome precedent if you're granting an extension after it's already expired. I mean, if we were in January and it was a few months before it was going to be, and you wanted to extend it, I think that would have been more appropriate. And you could have argued that the DOTD is a force majeure. But I think the more appropriate way, and I've had this discussion with the permits department, would be to simply resubmit their plat through the permit department and come and submit it for a conditional approval. And now that they've got their DOTD permit, they are aware of what's in the ordinance, and that is the conditional approval is good for 2 years, that would be the most appropriate way to proceed.
And then to follow up, and I did check with permits, but I want to make sure with you, is there is no, if we deny this, their permit is already expired, but there's nothing to prevent him going tomorrow morning to permit office and getting back on the agenda, correct? There's no time frame that he has to wait.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. I yield. Those were my main concerns. I yield. Mr. Champagne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was exactly my concern. I just did not want to set a dangerous precedent where we let the clock run out and then we just say, well, we'll do it this time for you. And in the future, this arises again and opens us up to litigation. I'm not opposed to this. I just want to follow the letter of the law as written and do the right thing. And that way we won't have any repercussions. I yield.
Ms. McCarty.
I've talked with Mr. Hero and his representative. I just want to let everyone know that I did put this on the books originally for March so that it would have been in time, but we had to defer it for a few reasons. And they are aware that they can come back. You're not going to be penalized in any way for coming back and changing the date and putting it back on the books.
So I guess my question is to you, Ms. McCarty, do you want to move forward with the vote, or would you like to withdraw and talk to Mr. Hero and have him reintroduce? Hold on. You queued up. Okay, go ahead.
I'll ask Mr. Hero again, but I asked you before we started today, and you said that you wanted to move forward with the vote. So do you still want to move forward with the vote?
Come up to the mic, please.
I wasn't aware of this legal issue, and so I'm hearing two things, is that we applied before the deadline, but the council didn't have a chance to act before the deadline expired, if there is a
No,
deadline.
we did have a chance to act, but I felt it was best that you be represented.
Right.
That's why I deferred it. And then I deferred it until it went to Belchase. It originally was coming up in Point Lahash, and you were not here. So I said, well, let's defer it to Belchase when you could talk. And you said, well, we're not ready, so let's defer it to Point Lahash, and that's where we are today.
So, the legal issue.
But it's okay. It's, you know.
I can't comment on the legal issue, because it's brand new to me. That's up to the council. If they want to get in trouble or not, I can't make that decision.
We're not getting in trouble, neither are you.
What's that?
Nobody's getting in trouble.
Well, the council says they can't do it according to one interpretation, so I can't comment on that. I don't know what's proper for the council. Whatever they got to do, that's fine. If we can extend it, that's fine. And if we got to start over, well, I guess we got to start over. But I mean, I understand that.
I'm deferring to you. I'm giving you the choice to decide.
I would like to vote on it, yes.
Okay,
All right.
so we're going to vote on it.
Okay. Mr. Jurisic, did you have another comment?
Yes, I did. Mr. Garrett, when you said the date it expired,
Yeah,
It
it's
was
my understanding that it was,
The original date, according to this, is March 24th, 2022 is
right,
what
that's when
I'm,
it was issued.
so it'll be March 24th, 2024?
Yes.
so what I'm looking at, the deferral happened on March 28th, which was still after the expiration.
Right.
So that's what I just wanted to clarify that, Patty. I understand when we deferred it, I would almost, be thinking, well, we deferred it.
Yeah, 2 days
You
is
missed
one
it.
thing.
You missed it by 4 days, so I think it's best, in our best interest to.
All right, Mr. Champagne?
Again, I agree with Councilman Jurisic. It was expired. I just want to do the right thing. I mean, we want this to go forward. Let's just follow the rules, not give it to somebody and say, do you want to move forward or not? How do you feel? It's not about how we feel, because we all know we want to we just feel like we want to do the right thing. It's not about feelings. It's about following the letter of the law and acting professionally as a body here. And that's all we want to do. So go reapply, and it'll move forward. And I don't think it's going to affect your timeline in any way, shape, or form, because you sound like you've done all the hard work. The work's done. So reapply, it'll come back up, and we'll move forward. I yield.
All right, Ms. McCarty, what is your wishes? This is your legislation. Move or?
Mr. Hero says that he wants to move forward. So if you nod yes, you want to move forward, then we'll move forward. If you say no, we won't move forward.
All right, it's,
Mr. Hero, move forward?
I think he said yeah.
Okay, then we'll move forward.
All right.
Okay.
Machines are open. And it fails with 1 yea vote from Ms. McCarty and 6 no votes from all other members present. Next item, please.
I, a resolution authorizing Plaquemines Parish government to enter into an agreement with DOTD to construct a roundabout at the intersection of Woodland Highway and F. Edward Abair Keaton Drive in Belchase, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
Mr. Champagne, you want to offer this since this is your district and we had that conversation? You want to offer? Go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that. And again, it was just a case of the administration moving quickly just to get this done. Again, we've been talking about this roundabout. President Hinckley and I have met
All
frequently
right,
about this. You've been
I'll offer. You second.
Second.
Offer by myself, second by Mr. Champagne.
Second.
All right, any comments from the audience? Administration? Mr. Champagne, you want to add anything more to this, since you had the floor? Go ahead, you're still live.
Again, this is just giving us permission to move forward this thing, continue the ball moving on this traffic circle, which will alleviate some of the issues we're having at Woodland Highway. Again, we hold 90% plans on it now, and again, this is just part of the process to move forward. I yield.
And before we go any further, since it was my legislation that was put under my name as chairman, I did look into it and talk to legal, mainly concerning lines 14, 15, where it talks about not a grant, but reimbursement. Legal did send me the actual CEA. We are not responsible for any cost. This is state funded. It's just, we are not responsible for any cost. They had charts on who's responsible, and everything under us was 0% and everything. It was just, basically, this was a standard resolution for normal CEAs that engineering put together. But Ms. Burris did send me the actual CEA where it shows that we are not responsible for any costs. So, because I had that was my first question to legal. So you have the floor, or any comments from the audience, administration? Mr. Edwards.
There was one question, I made a notation on 14, 15, and 16 because verse 17 said, well, if applicable, and I said, well, wait a minute, I don't understand. Do we have the fund or we don't have the fund? So that was confused. So when you say a roundabout, when you go down Woodland, there's a roundabout there. So you're talking about another roundabout?
Correct. Where you leave the F. Edward Abear, where the flashing yellow and red light is, they're going straight out F. Edward Abear, where you go straight instead of that little curve, and there's going to be a roundabout that connects Woodland Highway, F. Edward Abear, and Keaton Drive all in one intersection to hopefully solve some of the accidents that occur there and the speeding.
You know, we thought I had a diagram of, because that's what I was trying to understand.
Yeah. We can get, I can get you, because I know we had those plans.
The airbag threw me off, because I saw some, at one time, some construction like was taking, I saw where it looked like some construction was supposed to take place there, but I'm trying to see if you're coming down, if where would it be, where would it start at Woodland? Because that seemed like a congested area.
Well, yeah, that's what it's supposed to basically be put right there, where you don't have to have the cops there in the morning with the schools and all that, where it will be smooth flowing and people can get onto FYA Abear without crossing basically the highway and causing accidents. I mean, it's probably once a month there's a major accident there. So that's where it's going to go. And I think this is January 25 is the planned start date, correct? Yeah. So this will not be ongoing during the bridge construction. I know that's a question that I got. It won't start until after the bridge is fully built. That's what this, but like I said, this is just a standard CEA, no cost to the parish. I already checked on that, and I can send you that CEA to all members. Mr. Burris sent it to me earlier this week.
And line 27 and 28, I was trying to get some understanding on that because I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, I don't. That's probably, again, standard language that any work we do with the state based on reading it.
And who are they saying required to do that? Someone in-house with us, with the engineer department?
Probably the engineering department, yeah. So, any other comments or questions? Machine's open. Oh. Passes 7-0. Next item, please.
J, an ordinance to amend the 2024 operating revenue and expenditure budgets to accept a donation from Infomark LLC for the Plaquemines Parish Day at the Louisiana Legislature and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
We have changes.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry, no changes.
Changes.
All right. On line 2, after Infomark LLC and DA Davidson and Company has been inserted. On line 5, after $1,000 and a $500 donation from Infomark and DA Davidson and Company. On line 18, DA Davidson and Company, $500 has been inserted. On line 26, the revenue for the donations has been changed to 1,500. And the same thing on line 32, it's been changed to 1,500. And that's it.
With that, I'll offer with changes. Ask for a second. Second by Ms. McCarthy. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes 7-0. Next item, please.
L, an ordinance to amend the 2024 general fund revenue and operating expenditure budgets and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz, this has changes.
The money amount in lines 4 and 9 have been changed from 200,000 to 555,000.
I offer with the changes. Ask for a second. Second by Mr. Jurisic. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Passes. You want a verbal yes? Verbal yes by Mr. Edwards. Passes 7-0.
M, a resolution approving and authorizing Rochelle Morel, Comptroller, to execute a Louisiana compliance questionnaire to Colder Slavin and Company, LLC, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
I'll offer. Ask for a second. Second by Ms. McCarty. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. This is part of our annual audit. Basically, the state requires this. It's a form about 3 pages long, basically saying that you're abiding by state laws on everything. And Ms. Morel signs it, and basically we're approving it. We have to approve it as governance. It's just a formality. Yeah, I sign it and you sign it too? Okay, I didn't know how we were set. Every one I audit. Yeah. So. Passes 7-0. Next item, please.
N, an ordinance to prohibit through traffic on West Gulf Drive, Orangewood Drive, and Boozin Lane, Buras, Louisiana, for motor vehicles that exceed a gross weight of 5,000 pounds and to create a no truck route through residential area zone on the above listed streets, to establish a penalty for the violation thereof, to authorize the parish president to have the appropriate roadway signs installed, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Kotnovich.
Offered by Mrs. Kongovich, second by Mr. Jurisic. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Ms. McCarty?
Is it possible to add streets to this? Or is this only for bureaus?
I'm on.
Yeah, you're on.
This was an ordinance
Wait.
done
Okay.
years and years ago, but they never put the streets on there. And I'm getting complaints and they calling the police department.
Okay,
And they can't write a ticket because none of the streets was in the ordinance.
okay. I'm going to do something later.
Send it to everybody.
Thank you.
Send it to everybody. All right, did you have anything else, Mr. McCarty? All right, Mr. Kongovich, Ms. McCarty, you good? Machines are open. Passes 7-0. Next item, please.
An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, repairs, Coast Guard Road project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Kotnovich.
Hold on. Offered by Mr. Kongovich, second by Mr. Jurisic. Any comments from the audience? Administration, Ms. Kongovich?
I asked to see the check when we got it in. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either, so. We'll get Rochelle to send us a copy.
All right.
Machines are open. Mr. Jurisic. Passes 6 yeas, 1 no from Mr.
10, approval of the minutes from the April 11th, 2024 regular meeting.
Offered by Mr. Kokrovich, second by Mr. Jurcic. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table? Machines are open. Mr. Edwards, for the minutes. Passes 7-0. Next item, please.
11, new business. 11A, introduction of resolutions where a suspension is being sought. 11A1, a resolution urgently requesting the federal delegation representing Plaquemines Parish, including United States Senator Bill Cassidy, United States Senator John Kennedy, and United States Congressman Steve Scalise, to support an amendment to 42 USC 1395X-KKK3, definition of rural emergency hospital, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Schultz.
Can we do both of them under one suspension, Danny? Can we do both, read them both and do one suspension and then vote on each one separate? All right, go ahead and read the other one.
A resolution changing the meeting location of the May 9th, 2024 council meeting to the Point LaHash Courthouse Chambers and the May 23rd, 2024 council meeting at the Belle Chase Council Chambers, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I offer for suspension. Second by Reverend Edwards. Any comments from the audience on suspension only? Administration, table, machines are open for suspension. Passes 7-0. All right, we'll take 11A1 first.
A resolution urgently requesting the federal delegation representing Plaquemines Parish, including United States Senator Bill Cassidy, United States Senator John Kennedy, and United States Congressman Steve Scalise, to support an amendment to 42 USC 1395X-KKK3, definition of rural emergency hospital, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer for Ms. LaFrance. Second by Ms. McCarty. Any comments from the audience? Ms. Press, did you want to make any comments since you're here? Okay. I know we all signed a letter last time. This is the official resolution, basically try and get that hospital designation for the just for awareness for the public. Any comments from the audience? Administration, table, machines are open. Passes 7-0. Next item, please.
A resolution changing the meeting location of the May 9th, 2024 council meeting to the Point LaHash Courthouse Chambers and the May 23rd, 2024 council meeting at the Belle Chase Council Chambers, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I offer, ask for a second. Second by Reverend Edwards. Any comments? Or I'll just get, what we're doing is due to graduation in Port Sulphur on the second meeting, since the second meeting is normally here, what? Oh, South Plaquemines High School graduation. And since the second meeting is here in timing, trying to get all the way up to Belle Chase, around and back down would be difficult. So what we're doing is just swapping the meeting location. Same days, but the first meeting will be back here in Point LaHash. Second meeting will be in Belle Chase. Any questions? All right. Any comments from the audience? Administration, table, machines are open. Passes 7-0. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Kokrovich. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Jurcic. Machine. What? Any comments from the audience? Table. Machines are open. Passes 7-0. We have adjournment at 3:30 p.m.